Okay, everybody, are we ready? Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Virginia City Council Chambers. This is a regularly scheduled Committee of the Whole meeting, open to the public. We'll call this meeting to order. Today's date is Tuesday, December 2nd, 2025, and the time is 9:03 a.m. We have a full agenda today. We have some appearances. Welcome to everybody who's in the audience today. We hope we can get through this in an efficient and effective manner. We have some issues with regards to streets, the Minnesota Department of Transportation, some exciting construction for a new facility, and some information on an update on the age-friendly community survey results. So we have appearances, finance, personnel, building grounds, and other items of concern, which could be a closed session moving forward. So we'll turn the agenda over to our city administrator, Britt C. Bennis. Britt?
Thank you. The first item on the agenda is Mr. Matt Reed from SEH regarding the first item is a request for curb cuts for the MnDOT Virginia campus project on Hoover Road.
Morning, Matt.
Good morning. Hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving holiday. First item, yes. So I think all of you are aware that MnDOT is doing a lot of work over on Hoover Road. They're revamping their facility over there, doing a lot of new construction. Should be pretty cool when it's done. Jim and I actually, and Aaron Osselson from Public Utilities have been coordinating with them for the past several months related to utilities, curb cuts, things like that, so that they can get their final design plans put together and start doing some construction. And the issue before us today, or the request before you today, I should say, is for the curb cuts onto Hoover Road. So they're requesting, in your packet, there are 3 different plan sheets. There's one that's an overview of the entire site, and then 2 other ones on either side of it in the packet that is just a zoomed-in version of that geometric plan. There are also some, I believe, there are some representatives here from, I haven't met these people personally, I've talked to them on the phone. So there are some representatives from MnDOT's design team too. If there ended up being questions, I'm sure they could do a better job of answering these questions than me. But they're looking for if you look on the overall site plan, they have requested 4 different curb openings for entrances and for ingress egress into their property. And I've reviewed it all. I've looked at the design criteria. I've looked at where they're located, and my recommendation would be to go ahead and approve it. I don't see any issues with it. It's a fairly large site. They can talk better about how the traffic's going to flow in and out of there if you'd like them to do that. But that is the request here today, to basically approve this site plan for them for the curb cuts that can be implemented into their site plan, and to allow them to move forward. So, and my recommendation is to go ahead and approve it.
Okay,
I move to approve the plan.
Thank you, Matt. Councilor Johnson moves to approve the plan submitted by the Department of Transportation for the curb cuts with the approval and recommendation by our engineer of record, SEH, and our Public Works Director,
I'll support
Jim
for
Rosvik.
discussion.
Moved and supported by Councilor Paulson. Is there any further discussion? Councilor Paulson.
Thank you. And there's no cost to the city whatsoever, it's just approving the plan and that they can put that in into their
That's all part of their plan, yep.
project. Okay, thank you.
Thanks very much for coming. It has been moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Matt?
Okay, second item B. Update on the signals. I know we've discussed this in length at the Street and Alley Committee meetings in the past, over the last several months. The traffic signals on 9th Street at the intersections of 6th Avenue and 9th Avenue, so up by Alcott Park and down by Washke's, they're very similar condition to what the ones on Chestnut Street, where they're out of date, they're having all kinds of problems with them, they're limping them along, trying to keep them working. The timing on that one on 6th Avenue was really messed up when we were doing the project down there. They were able to fix it. But long and the short of it is, like everything, those things were put in quite a while ago, and they are in need of an upgrade. So we did have one of our traffic signal experts come up and meet with City Public Works staff. They looked them over. The memo in your packet is from John Gray. He is with SEH. He's the traffic signal person that looked at them. He's also the one that had gone through Chestnut Street and done all of the work on that project, so very familiar with Virginia. And as you can see in his memo, they're not in very good condition. He verified that. We knew that already, but he came up and verified that. There's some things we can do to limp them along, but not far down the road, they're gonna have to have a complete replacement done, just mainly because of the structural integrity of the poles. Not cheap, as we know from Chestnut Street, they're about $400,000 a piece to do the whole intersection. We had discussed the possibility of doing them in the next couple of years as part of the Sixth Avenue project. Either we could do it this year, we could do it as a standalone, we could do it in 2027, whatever. But I'm bringing it before the council for discussion, or before the committee of the whole, I guess, for discussion. If you have questions, and at least to start having this discussion about trying to get a plan moving forward with this. In addition to that, I will mention I tacked on a memo or an email to the end of his memo with information from him. He had stopped over and looked at the signal over by Parkview as well, at the intersection of 4th Street North and 9th Avenue. That signal is reasonably new, but there are a few upgrades that could be done to it to get it all up to par with everything else. And so he had just written down some recommendations if we wanted to proceed with those. Some of those are related to the emergency services, which I think probably warrants, all three of these signals warrant some further discussion with the emergency services folks to see what their desires would be. But long and the short of it, that's kind of where we're at on those signals, and probably need to start talking about how we're gonna fund and replace those. So I'll pause there. If everybody has any questions, I'll try to answer them.
Yeah, before I go to the rest of the council, I'd just like to say that, obviously you're well aware, and we're all aware of the budget crisis that we're in. And so we have to weigh the pros and cons and the cost-benefit analysis for the traffic and the safety of the community with respect to each one of these intersections. As far as the school goes, if upgrades need to be done, it's fairly new. We look at that particular piece. I don't know if we do it all at one encompassing, but I do think we need to do a cost-benefit analysis. What's the cost associated with this? How we move forward with this? When would be the appropriate time to look at the replacement, limping along the one on 6th Avenue and 9th Street? That's fine. But I think that we are going to have to look at finding the funding for it first in order to accomplish, whether it comes from state funding or LRAP or whatever it is. We need to find the funding source for it, because I don't think the city has the stomach or the need to bond for that. So we need to look at other sources of funds in order to accomplish that. But to have it ready to go in the event we can show, you have the architectural drawings, you have the memos, you have the information necessary to seek other funding through another entity with respect to emergency services, or how we tie that in. And so if it comes to where the lights fail and we don't have the money to move that forward, I think we have to take the necessary steps to protect the integrity of the traffic on a four-way basis through 9th Avenue and 9th Street and 6th Avenue. So I think we have to have what we do on Chestnut Street. We had a temporary stop signs. We had warning signs of effect, stop sign ahead, yada, 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 what we have to do in that regard. So I think we have to prepare for that, but I don't think we're in a position right now to actually move forward with the approval of any funding. I think we're going to have to look for that. And so those are my comments now, and I'll move to the council for additional comments. Councilor Paulson, over to Councilor Johnson. Councilor Paulson.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Matt, for being here and giving us the update. It just, on the agenda, it says update on 9th Avenue and 6th Avenue traffic signal analysis. Did we have to pay for this analysis upfront? And was there an initial payment for this analysis?
You
Cost?
paid for John's time to go out and give the analysis.
And where did that money come from, do you know? And how much was that?
I'm assuming out of the professional services.
And did the council approve that analysis?
The committee did direct them to do that
So
analysis.
Street and Alley directed it, but it didn't come back to the
Would have
council
came to
for
the committee of the whole.
approval?
Yes, yes.
Could I be provided with that resolution, please?
I'll take a look at it. It wouldn't be a resolution, probably a motion, but we'll take a look
Or
at that.
provided with that motion? At this time, I won't be in favor or supporting moving forward with new traffic signals. So I appreciate the time put into it. We are definitely in a budget constraint right now. And until our bond rating gets healthier, I don't feel that these are the types of projects that we should be initiating a bond for. So for that reason, I would not be supportive going forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Before we go to Councilor Johnson, was to clarify, I'm not asking for a bond, and I don't think any of us want a bond, but having the information ready to submit for additional funding outside above a bond might be approved for us to have that information. I think at the Street and Alley Committee meeting, that's why we asked for that. Move forward with that, see if there's a cost analysis, have that ready to go in the event that we could find some other sources of funds for that purpose. So that was a clarification I'd like to make. Back to Councilor Paulson and then over to Councilor Johnson.
Thank you. And with all due respect, I guess I wasn't insinuating that you were recommending
Oh,
a
no,
bond.
no.
But it is the Street and Alley Committee that has been moving all the projects forward that has created our debt levy impact to the taxpayers of the city of Virginia. So
I
when
disagree.
public safety and our street and alley projects, plus the assessments on top of that.
Their recommendations comes from the committee. The committee isn't responsible for that.
No,
The
I'm not
city
saying
council is
responsible.
responsible. So the committee didn't create this issue.
No.
The council did.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
What I'm saying is we need to be mindful going forward approving projects so that we don't get our taxpayers in a situation where we are increasing our debt levy and we're not discussing our debt levy with our general fund levy as one conversation, which is what we need to start doing. So every time we have a project like this come forward and we say, yes, let's go forward and let's approve it, and then the ball gets rolling and then it's too far down the line to even say no because we have already costs tied up in it. And at that point in time, then we engage in a bond or whatever type of debt that we're going to incur, and we're approving that bond and debt immediately, right then approving the project. We don't think about that then with our budget planning process until we start the budget planning process, usually in September and October. So my point is, I want to be mindful going forward with projects and approving of projects, and I'd like to know how much we paid for the analysis, what was the cost, when was the resolution passed to formally approve that analysis, and how much was it? So I just wanted clarification. I am not against having traffic signals. I think that we can put Band-Aids on things until we can figure out where we're at financially and how to best move forward. And my full expectation that Baker and Tilly would have been part of that process as well. So I don't know when we will be receiving that information, but that is something that I won't be approving anything in the future until we have that in front of us. Thank you.
Yeah, and I think the purpose of this committee, the whole meeting discussion is to give an update on where we're at. And so we're not making any decisions to move forward. I think we're discussing what our options could be. And if we have that analysis already done, as the request of Councilor Paulson, to find out what we spent in that regard, the longer you wait to get the analysis, the more it's going to cost. You don't move forward with the purchase of it unless we find another funding source. I think I tried to make that clear in my opening remarks. But I concur with you, Councilor Paulson, with respect to the process moving forward as to find a cost associated with that and where that funds has come from. And I'm not supportive of a bond either. Councilor Johnson.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Mayor. Just have to say that I've heard many positive comments about having 5 stoplights on Chestnut Street. So it makes it easier, but I understand that the technology will facilitate smoother flow. And that was one of my questions is there the ability to create lighted four-way stops at those intersections as opposed to controlled traffic stops? Like I'm thinking back in the day with the red light, just something else to think about. I don't know how standards change. That's your job. I trust whatever comes forward with you. I think this is a great example, again, of how deferred maintenance and kicking cans wherever they land leads us into future challenges, into future funding challenges, into future debt service challenges, into future maintenance challenges. So that we're looking at this now is timely, and I appreciate it. And just as a general comment, I also have to agree with the mayor that how the process works, and disagree that it's anybody else's responsibility but the 7 people sitting in this room. For myself, I am very aware of how anything we approve affects the budget this year, next year, debt levy services, all of that stuff makes sense to me. I always have that in my mind. I always have in my mind the effect it's going to have. And I do that cost analysis, for lack of a better term, for myself and make the best decision I believe for the city. That is why many times I am a single or one of the only yes or no votes contrary, because I am voting based on what I believe is best for the city long-term. So I just want to clarify that I am aware of the levy and the debt services and all of that stuff when I'm making those decisions. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Johnson. So I would like to see maybe, if it's amenable to the elected body, to at least have an alternative plan in place instead of replacing the traffic lights. If an alternative plan is available, as Councilor Johnson alluded to, for a 4-way stop with lights on there, if those lights fail, we should have an alternative plan already in place to at least temporarily provide safe traffic control at that intersection. So that's how we're doing. Matt.
I do have an idea for the council to consider. That same question has been brought to me, actually, and I've actually had these same thoughts, is if we could rewind the clock several years, do we just, and now we know what we know, could we have gotten away with no traffic signals on Chestnut Street, right? I think everybody, after we've done it for a while, it seems like maybe that probably would have worked okay. Good reason and good thought was put into why we put them back, so I don't want to discount any of that. That was a discussion we had and all of that. However, knowing what we know now, hindsight's always 20/20. Looking forward, one thing we could do at those 2 intersections is we could shut those streetlights off and put 4-way stops there while they're still operating, so that you could try it and see how it works. And then that way, if it's really not working, if it's causing we can move the stop signs, turn the lights back on, and then decide what to do with them moving forward. But it certainly would be a possibility to just, probably in the summer, not now, but in the summertime at some point, put some temporary stop signs and create a 4-way stop there and just turn the traffic signals off as if they weren't working and just see how it works. If it works, then maybe the long-term plan is to remove those traffic signals altogether. And I think the one at the school is still going to be pretty important at Parkview, but the 2 on that road, that might work just fine. So something to think about.
Thank you. And I think those stop signs, if we were to do that, and I think it's a temporary plan moving forward, I think it's an alternative source of traffic control, with the 4-way stops being an appropriate method of that traffic control. But I think those stop signs have to be enhanced, as with, like Councilor Johnson, lights or something like that. So because it's next to a school, flashing lights, whatever, to make sure that those stop signs are. So I think that's an alternative of temporary moving forward. And I would support at least that, taking a look at that. Councilor Motley.
Thanks, Matt, for coming. Thanks for the information. Britt or Matt, is there any type of grants or anything available that we could apply for at all to try to pay for this project? Or is this something going forward, which I would not support just bonding alone, but is there anything that Matt?
Yeah, Mayor, if I could.
Yes, Matt.
Again, I'll go back to, this was an update. Nobody was asking to move it forward today, and I think that's, the mayor pointed out that the idea was to get the costs and really find out what is the problem with it so that we could get a good cost. Does it need to be fully replaced? So that's what you have. There are grant opportunities. There's transportation grants, there's things like that we're looking for all the time that we have used on a lot of these projects. We've had many, many dollars in grant money, as you well know, that we've used on these past projects. And so now that we have an idea of what they're gonna cost, we know what we're up against. Certainly, as we're looking for grant opportunities coming through the transport, it's on a state aid route, so if we've got state aid money available, that is also an option. So short answer to your question is yes, there are, and so we'll be looking for that as we move forward.
So I'm just randomly thinking as you're talking, if there was ever grants or whatever available, would it ever take away from the Sixth Avenue project? If the money could be put towards that?
Yes, potentially.
Okay, that's what I needed.
Because
Okay.
a lot of that money comes from the same
Okay.
place.
Okay, thank
Not
you.
necessarily, but it could.
Okay, thanks, Matt. Thanks, Mayor.
Yeah, thank you, Councilor Motley. I think that's a good plan. I don't know if we have to make a motion to direct that, maybe, it doesn't have to go back to Street and Alley to talk about this. It just goes to the community halls we're having here to discuss. Maybe we try that and to see, get the stoplights up there, or the stop signs with the enhanced lighting. I don't know, that's probably will come out of the budget that we currently have. I don't know what the costs associated with that to do, put those stop signs up temporarily. But I think it's a good plan moving forward, shutting those lights off to save the lifespan of that light, to see if those four-way stops actually work. And if they do, continue to use them, and if they become a problem, like you indicated, Matt, in your recommendations, turn those lights back on. And as you're doing so, we're seeking additional funding for that. So you're providing us an update moving forward, not asking us to move this project forward. So thank you. Any questions, comments, or concerns from the public with respect to this or the elected body? Councilor Freely.
Matt, thank you for following through on the committee's recommendation for the analysis of this antiquated equipment. Obviously, we need to know that this is an issue that's arising for us. And right now, I don't think it's something that should be done, but not must be done. And so I would suggest that we get together as a street and alley committee for further analysis in regard to what options we might want to employ to try and figure out what to do from this point forward. Spending as little as money as possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Freely. So what we're going to ask Britt to do is work with SEH to figure it out. We have our Public Works Director, Jim Rosvit, in the room. Jim, would you have a comment or a suggestion or some information you'd like to share with us with respect to this project? Jim Rosvit, our Public Works Director. Jim?
Morning. I just wanted to make you aware, I brought it to Matt's attention because what we were dealing with, the electrical, but there's also structural damage there. And I just want you to be aware that I don't want my department to be held on the hook. And I mean, you can note it however you want to see if there's something catastrophic or a failure and those lights end up on the ground or something happens. There are holes through the structural on there now, and we are dealing with an issue. Whether we look at removing them or whatever we need to do, like I said, I brought it to Matt's attention. We've got to put it on the radar. It's something we just can't not do anything about or look away from. It's going to fail. It could come down this year. I mean, last year we had busted bolts off it again. That rotted out. So I just want to make you aware of where we're sitting on this stuff. So like you say, kick the can down the road. We've done it for years and it's not taking care of the problems that we're dealing with, so.
Thank you, Jim. Matt, does the Department of Transportation have a say in how traffic is controlled at these intersections?
No, that's a city street.
Very good, thank you. Okay, so, Councilor Beyondich.
After hearing that information, Mr. Rosvit, is this something that we should be dealing with now instead of waiting for it to come down? I mean, I don't, after hearing you speak, I don't want them to fall down either. Should we be implementing four-way now in the event of?
And like I say, we did have John Grave look at that, and he's more of the expert on it, but I've got a background in structural and welding and repair and that, so this is stuff we need to be looking at. I just want to make you aware of it that I know last year during heavy windstorms, they were twisting and manipulating where they could have came down last year, and we've been lucky. And for us to go in and do repairs on it, you're dealing with structural engineering. You're dealing with the wiring that, you've got to break it down. If you were to try to repair the structural on it, so how do you put a Band-Aid on something there again where you have nothing to attach it to, or, it's just past its life expectancy? I just want you to be aware of what we're dealing with, so.
So my question is this something we should take action on now, before something does happen? Now that I know that information, I'm not comfortable with somebody
I would look,
potentially being hurt.
I would look
if
a lot
these
more
come down.
serious into it than not doing anything about it. I mean, I would look at, like Matt says, about going to some four-way stops, getting some cost analysis, see what we want to do. But I don't feel comfortable. Like I say, I don't want my name put on them that, Public Works says it's fine, let's just carry on with this. I've got ladders at lift stations that are rotted out, and a lot of things like that too, and I don't want my name on them either, but unfortunately, I told the guys, you don't use that ladder to access, and
Okay, so with respect to the traffic lights in itself, the structural integrity of the lighting system at 6th and 9th is more critical than the one at the Parkview Elementary School. Is that correct, or are they in the same boat?
yes, and I would say the worst of them are the one at the hospital at 9th and 9th. That structural integrity is the worst of the three,
So 6th and 9th and 9th and 9th are the most critical?
yes.
And so your recommendation is, we should be taking some action steps to try to ensure the integrity of the intersection and the safety and security of the traffic flow there?
That's what I would recommend.
Okay, thank you. Counselor Beyondich?
Thank you. I will wait to hear from the rest of the council, but I would, from my comfort level, I would actually move to start taking some action now instead of later. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor Beyondich. Counselor Paulson, and then I'm going to have to leave in about 5 minutes, but I'll be back. Counselor Paulson?
So those can't come down now, though, during this climate, is that correct?
Well, they could. You'd have to put temporary stop signs out there for the four-way intersection,
Structural
but
portion is underneath.
that wouldn't, we wouldn't dig into that for now. If anything, you'd just take the poles down.
Just take the poles down.
Yeah.
Yes.
Take the poles down.
The poles and the arm masts that go across the street.
The bases that are concrete, we'd leave
Just leave
them intact, the wiring we'd leave intact, but just remove the structural pipe and poles that make the radius out.
When was this observation made that these were unsafe and unsecure?
I've noticed it. I've brought it up several times since I've been here over the past 4 years. And I see they're getting worse. Last summer was, I think, we had looked at this for another, we wanted to piggyback it possibly on another street project
Right,
here.
6th Avenue.
Yeah, is what we were looking at intentionally, so.
Is this the first we've ever heard of it?
We've talked about it at Street and Alley.
Yeah.
And that came through
Maybe
the
that didn't
council.
get passed forward, and that's why it's supposed to get passed forward to the full council.
Well, I think we've discussed it at committee of the whole. Absolutely, we have.
That there was integral issues with the pole?
That they need to be replaced. Traffic lights need to be replaced.
Pam, could you provide that information as well, if there's any minutes?
Well, I know we met at Street and Alley earlier this summer for sure and talked about it, and it would have been forwarded on through the council. That's why the analysis got done.
So in deference to you, Counselor Paulson, so what action steps do we want to take now? Anything, Counselor
Are
Paulson?
you asking me? I mean,
Yeah,
that's what I'm
yeah.
asking. Can you dig poles out? I don't know. I mean, if this is the problem with just finding out on the fly and making decisions, and we don't have money in our budget. So when would this full council have been made fully aware that there's structural problems on 9th and 9th? I wasn't aware of that. I don't know, were you aware of that? You obviously weren't aware of that, or you would have not asked
Now
the
we
questions.
Now we are, so let's make a decision. But now we are, so who cares that we weren't? Now we are, so let's make a decision. And if it's structurally perilous to public safety, then it is a must be done rather than a should be done. And if it can be done today, then maybe that's what needs to be done. And if you can do it, our crew can do it, then that's what we need to move forward on. That's what I'm hearing, is that you have a concern that there is some potential public safety concerns with the perilous nature of this structure. So it's imminent for us to do that. And whether we found out yesterday or today, it doesn't matter. We found out that something needs to be done, so let's make a decision.
So for Counselor Paulson, getting the information about when it was discussed, we could do that. Secondly, if a motion is going to be made here to move forward with anything, I would like that motion to be made so I have the opportunity to vote on it before I have to leave. Otherwise, I'm going to leave in about 5 minutes and I'll be back to about 10 o'clock. Counselor Paulson?
I have nothing further to add.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Counselor Johnson?
My question was between Public Works and Public Utilities, do we have the equipment to unbolt them and crane them away?
We have the resources, whether or not we have the time to do it right now. Like you're aware, we are down quite a bit of manpower, so.
Right. And I do remember this coming through minutes from buildings or streets and alleys. It's all recorded, it's all there. So I'm going to move that we authorize city staff to, by next Tuesday's meeting, so we can vote, because we'll probably end up spending money to figure out the safest, quickest solution to these, to removing or mitigating the light standard or light, traffic lights at 6th and 9th and 9th and 9th.
Okay, moved by Counselor Johnson. Is there support?
Support.
Support by Counselor Freelieb. Further discussion? Counselor Paulson?
Thank you, Mayor. My concern is a structural one. My other concern is winter driving with stop signs on a hill, on a decline, on going down 9th. That's my concern. If people aren't aware of that, is that going to cause accidents? If they're not used to driving like that, is that going to be a problem?
I wouldn't think so, only because it's no different than if the light was red. So if they saw that the light was red ahead of them, they'd have to stop anyway. So I get what you're saying. It's a different control at the intersection than what is there now. But it's no different than if the light was red.
And it's imminent? Are you saying, I mean, you're the engineer, are you saying that it's imminent these come down because there's structural problems?
I haven't looked at it structurally. I'm not a structural engineer. So I would, Jim knows from being out there and actually maintaining the lights and his guys, if they've got some concerns with it coming down, that's more of a bolt and bracket standpoint thing. I would trust his judgment on that for sure.
Sure. I'm just wondering if there's any way to say that they're structurally unsafe.
Well, and that's where you have to have a structural engineer, and I don't know what John Gray's title is.
He's not a structural.
Electrical, but structural. I would say a structural engineer is going to see they got to come down. Is from my knowledge and my past knowledge. That's what I see.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Counselor Paulson. It has been moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. I'm sorry, Counselor Beyondich.
I wanted the vote to go through, so if you have to leave, you had
apologize.
no, you're fine. So this letter from John Gray, that does address quite a few of the issues with the lights. So I am comfortable doing what we're doing because this document is included in our packet that addresses the concerns of them. So I think that I'm comfortable with the vote of err on the side of safety for the public. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor Beyondich. I apologize, I have to leave. I'll be back. Counselor Vice Mayor Paulson. Thank you.
Okay, so it's been moved and supported, and we will move to item, let's see, are we on item 3?
1C. Not still.
Oh, we're on 1C. Approve the supplemental letter for the 2026 6th Avenue West reconstruction project. Matt?
Thank you. So this is you guys had previously approved the 30% design so that we could get going, get some cost estimates, and we have made quite a bit of progress on that. And I think I brought this up at a previous committee of the whole meeting. We've been working with Jim and his crews now that they've got their new camera. And on the plus side, we're finding some ways I think we can save some money, which is encouraging. On the downside, there's some areas that maybe are looking a little worse than we thought. So hopefully, we're gonna get to the bottom of that, all of the different components. But what you've got in front of you then is this is a supplemental agreement for us to get it through the bidding. This is 2 years worth of projects. So this is what we would do for this summer, and then would also go through all to next year's project as well to finish the design and get it bid. And again, 2 different summers worth of projects, 2 different projects, 2 different construction seasons. So this would get us there. If you've got any questions, I can certainly answer them.
So move for the approval of the supplemental letter agreement.
Support.
Moved by Counselor Friedlieb, supported by Counselor Johnson. Is there any further discussion? Counselor Beyondich?
So explain to me what all this involves.
Sure. So again, remember, this is the idea that we've got the utilities beneath the steam plant. We just met with Public Utilities the other day. They're trying to expedite, this has nothing to do with the project, I'm just explaining to you that they're gonna expedite the demolition of that building, or they're hoping to. Again, it's funding driven for them, but they're getting started and wanting to get that building down in a year from now, 2 years from now, but it's coming. This is where the sanitary sewer, storm sewer, and water main are located beneath the facility, not in very good shape, not very accessible. So we're moving them out to 6th Avenue. So 2026 project, we are going to, we were gonna start and do it in 2 phases, moving the utilities. We're gonna hold off this summer. We're gonna do a temporary water main, turn off some valves, maybe do some temporary, we're still kind of working through all the details of that, to get the water main secured, no more live water mains beneath that building so they won't freeze. We're gonna take care of that this summer just so we can buy another year to try to get some more funding, things like that. In addition to that, there's a couple of other pending projects outside of the city, private projects, that are going on where there's a couple of alleys that we were going to do anyway as part of these reroutes that we're gonna pursue this summer as part of this summer's project, so that we can get those done so that those other entities can do their thing, rather than wait till 27. Then in 2027, we'll come back and do the big utility project. We'll relocate the storm sewer, we'll relocate the sanitary sewer, we'll reconstruct 6th Avenue from 3rd Street south roughly up to the bridge. And the sanitary sewer from Chestnut Street to the bridge we found is in good condition, so we've decided to not do anything with that, which again, that's the cost savings part. We're still looking at some of the other stuff, so we're not 100% sure yet. That's the scope of the project anyway. It's about a $8 to $10 million project by the time it's all said and done. We're hoping to bring that down some, but that's the scope anyway.
Counselor Beyondich?
So is there a cost associated with this? And question I always have is, where are the dollars coming from?
Cost associated with the SLA, yes, and I will defer that to staff.
I believe currently this would be budgeted under the community development, the professional fees.
Until the project starts, and then we would move the project monies into the project account. So anything related to this project would go into that.
Correct. Ultimately, it will be lumped into the project costs, yes.
Anything further? So the total contract fee is $194,000?
I think that's what it was.
Reading
Sorry,
page
let me get
17, I think, of the packet.
what it was. Yep. And I did include 194.5 actually. And I did include some time in there. We always have run into this on every project, getting easements, things like that. If we don't need it, we don't need it. We won't spend it. But we always seem to have to come back and talk about getting easements and costs associated with that. So I just built it into the contract right away. And again, if we don't use the money, we don't use it, that's fine.
Matt, and so we have a budget for other professional services of $30,000. So where is the balance of that going to get paid from? If we move forward with the project, this is just an analysis,
This is the final specs.
the finals, okay.
Yeah, this is actually the final design and plans and bidding documents.
And what happens, Matt, if we can't afford this project? That's why we moved it, we were trying to move it. What happens if the city can't afford this project?
You guys determine that it's not feasible for you to move forward, the utilities stay where they are, the road stays where it is, and whatever happens.
I mean, like currently, like it might be a couple years down the road until we get our bonding ratings straightened out and our tax situation straightened out.
So again, the utilities they'll stay where they are, and if public utility shuts the heat down and there happens to be some freezing or a collapse or a whatever, you'll have to deal with that maintenance part of it at the time.
Yep. But this isn't something, so this is, I guess, one of these things that I'm saying, once we do this, we've already gone down the road of spending the money.
Oh, I see what you're asking. So the plans will be done. So if you do them 3 years, 4 years from now, pull the plans out, look them over, and you can reuse whatever we've already done.
That's what so they'll be the same plans regardless if we pull the trigger now or later.
Unless we can find something cheaper, in which case that would be adjusted in the plans. But yes, it would, essentially, if you do the plans and decide, okay, we're not gonna move ahead with this project right now, we just can't afford it. Put the plans on the shelf, and in 3 years, when you wanna do the project, pull the plans back out, dust them off, and should be good to go.
So then, and I appreciate that, then on the 194.5, if we don't go forward with the project for a few years, how do we pay for that? Because there would be no project to associate that cost with.
I mean, that's it's something that we have to, this would have to be budgeted for.
Okay, thank you for that. Okay. Counselor Johnson?
Thank you. My guess is that by not completing this project as projected, our maintenance and emergency fees are going to far outweigh $194,000 now and $12 million in the long run, because at some point we have to move these utilities or they're going to keep breaking. Like, the whole point of this is that the utilities that are currently run under the public utility buildings are so shallow that they don't freeze because of the heat generated in the buildings. And when that heat gets shut off on October 31st, 2026, there will be zero heat in that building. And then once the cold is able to get in, maybe not right away, but January or February, we're going to start seeing maintenance issues, freezing, shifting, all these things that haven't happened in the last 75 years of having a heated building that's 8 stories high and who knows how down below stuff is. And so considering not doing this, again, is one of those things that I just don't understand. This is a need that we need to do in order to keep the city running, because if a water pipe freezes under that building, it's going to affect a majority of south side, I'm guessing, or north side, whichever way the pipes run. Like, this isn't just a little building that we're maintaining, where all this stuff is connected to other stuff within the city, and there will be a domino effect as it moves forward. I think this is, in government, you don't save $10 million to do a project in 20 years. That doesn't happen. I was thinking about this earlier, and one of the statements being made is we have to stop doing what we've always been doing. Well, we've been setting levies at 3.20%. That's part of the problem. We're still doing what we've always done. And so my concern is by not doing this, getting the plans and not moving it forward because of what ifs, it's, to me, it's short-sighted. We need to be looking at how do we solve this problem long-term, which has been brought up in here before. This is a long-term solution. Let's get the plans, let's fix it. We don't have to worry about it and maintaining it over the years. So I will be supporting this and will continue to support the 6th Avenue project. This is a long-term solution for utilities and other things that will affect the rest of the city. Thank you.
Counselor Beyondich.
Thank you. And I think part of my struggle is when we talk about dollars and our budget, and we really try to separate our wants and a need. I just had this conversation with Councilor Friedlieb. Our needs, this is a definite need to keep the infrastructure of our city viable. My question would be, Britt, when will Baker Tilly be assisting us with our planning, our future planning of the city financially? Because I think some of what we're talking about is my struggle on we need to have a plan, and right now there is no plan. We just, lack of better terms, we keep doing what we're doing. And I understand the angst in the city with our bonds, with the money, the taxes. We can't have it all. But this type of a project, to me, is a need. And that, I think that's the struggle. And maybe, is Baker Tilly involved yet with the planning?
They're almost complete. Yeah, it's almost done.
It's almost done. So they will be able to help guide us through financially what we need as a city and maybe pull apart the wants and the needs. So that's where I struggle. I mean, I've always felt that our infrastructure, our public works, our public safety is very important to the public. And those are more needs, in my opinion. So, but I also worry about where dollars are coming from. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor Beyondich. Matt, go ahead.
How about this? As I'm thinking this through, as I'm listening to the discussion, this does include a 2-year design, okay? So they tie together, but you don't have, I can go redraft this contract. You don't have to approve the bidding documents part of it right now. So I could scratch that out. The plans and specifications, I can certainly pare this down to where it's just this year's project with enough in the budget to make sure that there's enough dollars to plan and make sure we don't have to redo a bunch of stuff with the work that we do this summer. So that would bring the cost of this contract down fairly significantly. And then when the time comes, maybe it's this summer, probably later this spring or summer, start looking a little more seriously at, I'm not saying that we shelf the project from a importance standpoint. I'm just saying maybe it would help spread this out, or at least for the immediate approval, get us just what we need versus what, we have another construction season to be able to finish the design on the rest of the stuff. So we could certainly revamp the contract and look at that. I would like to just touch on, so that everybody understands what Councilor Johnson was saying. If we get the water main out of there, that really probably alleviates the freeze concern. So that's what we're gonna do this summer. Beyond that though, the biggest concern with the storm and the sanitary, it's old, and I'm concerned when they start banging around and demoing that building. That's when something's gonna fall and break. And then that will affect, that is one of the trunk lines that comes through there. And so when you talk about an emergency fix, that's where I'm really concerned that something's gonna happen. Because especially that storm sewer is pretty brittle. I would imagine the sanitary is too. And right now, I know we have some of the backup issues. Jim's guys haven't had a chance to get in there with a camera yet. I bet you that storm sewer is half full of sediment right now. And for them to be able to clean it is gonna be very difficult. So again, going back to trying to balance needs versus wants. Once we have the camera through there, we can bring and show the council. Actually, if you'd like to see it, we can bring the video and show you what's in the pipes or what it looks like, and maybe that would help make you feel a little bit better about having to do the project. I don't know. But those are the things, I guess, that I'm concerned about from the standpoint of the emergency costs, because nothing's ever cheaper when it becomes an emergency than if you be proactive. So anyway,
Thanks, Matt. Counselor Beyondich?
And thank you for that, Matt. I would be okay if you could bring us up. I think what I'm waiting for is for direction from Baker Tilly on how things look, what direction are we going in. And I appreciate you coming forward and saying that you could cut it back for now and still continue. We would have everything if we need it. But I really am relying on professional advice from Baker Tilly on how to move forward with some of the decisions we have to make. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor Beyondich. Do we have a motion on the floor, Pam? No motion on the floor? We do have a motion on the floor? Okay. So I just want to add that I won't be in support of this until after we get the Baker Tilly kind of, on documentation of where we're going or what the recommendations are. And then I would love to see maybe you portion out some of that in here and maybe represent it then too. That would be great. So the existing motion on the floor, I won't be supporting, but I feel like if you go back and do that, then we can have that discussion going forward again. Counselor Beyondich?
Thank you. Is this letter time sensitive, or would we have time to get that information to do this?
well, you're gonna wanna get this out for bids soon if you wanna get decent bid prices. So again, it's the timing of the process. We were really hoping to get something out for bids in January. So again, the earlier you can get them out, the better bids you're gonna get.
That's if we can afford the project. So you need to know that first.
That's up to you guys.
Yeah.
I'm just bringing you the information.
Counselor Beyondich?
Fred, would we be able to meet with Baker Tilly, or how soon do you think we would have some recommendations coming forward?
So in anything, you can do anything. Baker Tilly will tell you that you can do anything. It's just how you're going to pay for it.
Right.
Is how they're going to give you the plan. So it's just that, what does it look like, and the knowing that we probably would only assess 20%, not 40, makes a difference. I mean, those are just things that they would be looking at and recommending to you, that maybe you want to look at changing some of these policies that you've done in the past.
So would it be your recommendation that we
If you guys want to
wait
wait
until
you can
we
certainly
have
wait.
that?
Yeah, you certainly could
We're
wait.
okay
I
with
suspect
that?
we'd have it before the next committee, the whole meeting, if not earlier, so.
Would that work for you, Matt?
I can work with whatever you guys would like me to do. I can stop work on it right now, which is where I'm at. I can stop and wait. I'm whatever you guys would like me to do, I can do.
Could I make a motion to table until we have further information?
Motion to table by Counselor Beyondich. Is there support for that tabling motion? Is there support? Is there support? Motion fails for lack of support. Counselor Friedlieb?
I just don't think it's timely for us to be backpedaling. I understand the concern and the angst with all of the money that's needing to be put forth towards this, but there's a lot of time and effort, a lot of analysis that's been done to bring it to this point already, to begin the project and the phases of the project that are imminent with regard to public utilities responsibilities to take down the building. Taxpayers, I think, would be more inclined to want to continue to be able to turn water on in their homes during the winter than to save money on their taxes. And that's what potentially can happen with this project. They're telling us, you've got to stop spending money. You've got to stop spending money. For certain things, you just absolutely can't. And this is one of those things. If we don't do what we've analyzed is necessary to do, that's the potential that can happen. We're going to have frozen water mains on 6th Avenue that will impact people all along that corridor for who knows how long. And then whatever kinds of maintenance needs to be done to fix that problem we're moving in the direction of getting this accomplished in phases, and we're to a point now where we shouldn't be backpedaling on that. That's why Matt's brought this to our attention at this point. This is what we need to do first, and to begin the bidding process as soon as possible for phase one that needs to be done this summer, correct? So I'm just really concerned right now of how, I understand the angst and I understand the concerns of the taxes in this city, but there are certain things, and the infrastructure in this city is just damaged to needing repair. And we've got to address that. And we're in the midst of doing that. And we've been provided the documentation to move forward with that. And it's just not timely to backpedal on that. It's time to move forward on that, because the consequences would be people in town having no water during the winter, correct? For any period of time. So, I mean, maybe I'm overly dramatic on that, but the point is we've got a lot of work and time and effort that's been put into this already. We've determined the phases of the project, coupling that with what the responsibilities of the VPU is, and we're past the point of backpedaling away from this as far as I'm concerned. So I think making the motion to approve the supplemental letter is appropriate to move forward with that, and to move forward with phase one for the summer, and then we'll go on from there. But I don't know what to tell you. I just think it's not timely to backpedal from things that are essential infrastructure projects for the city of Virginia to maintain the services that we provide to our residents. So, thank you.
Counselor Beyondich?
Thank you, and I'm okay with that. My concern was we have kind of jumped the gun on other issues, and then we backpedal on where are the dollars coming from. And as I said before, Public Works is an essential service in this town, and I have no problem with that. But every issue we tackle is essential. So we have to, as a council, we have to kind of work with what we have. My intent is not to stop the project. My intent is to find how this is going to be paid before we jump that gun again. If we can do it in a budget cycle where it's accounted for and we have the dollars, I have no problem. But I don't want to hold up this project. That's not my intent. But we have had many discussions in this room, and everything is imminent. Everything is, has to be some give and take for our taxpayers. Public Works, I agree, is not one of them. Public safety is not one of them. But we've had many discussions where we're and I will support doing this if we have the dollars and we carve out where it is coming from. How is this being paid for? And I've always asked those questions. How are things being paid for? So if I'm assured that these are being paid for, I don't want to hold up the project either. I'm just trying to work with how we can make things work. And if we have the dollars, do we have the dollars?
This would be a 2026, right, invoice at this point? I mean, at this point, having the dollars is up to you guys as far as budgeting the dollars. We don't have any other funding for it, so it would be part of the budget.
So it's part of the budget, 2026 budget discussion.
Yes.
You have a pending application to IRRB for 1.5 million for this project, for the 6th Avenue project, and for the City Hall windows and HVAC.
We're also applying for the
1.5.
local road improvement, sorry. We're also applying for the local road improvement program for $1.5 million. That's due next week. Application's almost done, so.
So Matt, I have a question. Can we just put this off until we get some of these components in place? I mean, December 9th, what difference does it make if we go back a month? If you're not gonna put in there the bidding price tag in there, the bidding documents, you were gonna remove that, is what you said? You could remove that from here?
Yeah.
So if the timeline changes a little bit, what difference does that make if we take our time to get this right financially? Because if this project is over $10 million and our current bond rating, and we have a $10 million a year limit that we can bond on, we might not be able to do the project at all. So we need to be smart on how we do this. in our timelines.
Understood. It ultimately is up to you as a council what you want to do. I'm bringing you the information, the timeline. If you put it off a couple of months, all that means is you're just not going to get out for bids earlier. So if the bids come in higher because there's no contractors available, that could be may not, but it could be. I can't tell you today if that's going to happen. If you put the project off indefinitely, I can't sit here and tell you what is going to happen to the pipes, I don't know. But just understand there's a potential. And so just be prepared. If maybe nothing will happen. Maybe it'll go for another 100 years. I don't know.
I don't think any of us are suggesting an indefinite. I think what we're just suggesting is a plan, like an actual financial map that we follow as a council when we talk about with Baker Tilly, what our bond rating looks like, because our interest rate is going to be sky high on $10 million. I can't even imagine what that might look like per year on interest alone. So those are things that, I mean, we can't just approve a big project without totally knowing the repercussions of that approval. That's where I'm coming from. I would feel way more comfortable getting that financial piece, understanding if it's going to be a 10 million, can we even do 10 million in 1 year? What other projects up to 10 million? What other projects might be coming forward? So there's a lot of different conversations that need to take place. Jim?
We've been aware of this for a long time. 2017 was the acknowledgement of the steam being shut off.
Yep.
We knew this. Here we are, 2025. We kicked the can over the cliff for years and years and years. Here we are, pre-COVID, we'd be paid 35% less right now. Now we're caught in a predicament where we don't know where the money's coming from. It's 4th and 100, and we got nowhere to go on this. It's not, like you say, it's not a want, it's a need. We knew this was coming down. Gary says it, Steve says it, we've got to deal with this. Kicking this can down the road's not going to help us. We're not sure either, we can't predict the future if the water, sewer, sanitary lines are going to hold up or what we're going to run into, because we've had steam running through this city for almost 100 years. What we're televising now, and we're finding a lot of water holding in these sanitary sewer lines and that, from 5th Avenue, 6th Avenue, under the coats, all that, they're full of water. There's issues there. We're holding that. And those steam lines run in conjunction in the same excavation with that, same with the water lines. We can't predict the future, but we got to be very aware this could be catastrophic for the city. And like I say, I know times are tight and where we're at. I just want you to be aware, we've put this on the back burner for so many years, and here we are now, and the costs keep going up.
Councilor Beyondich and then Councilor Motley.
And I totally agree with you. And I will support this if in the next week we could have some more information. I will support it so I don't hold this project up, because I do think this is a need, not a want. This is a need in our city. Thank you.
Councilor Motley.
Britt, when will we know if we get any funding on that grant you applied for with the IRRR?
Say the IRRB meeting was?
The board meeting is this Thursday, my understanding.
So is it possible, Jenny, that we would know something Thursday, or you guys would?
Yeah,
or-
they're asking us to attend just in case there's any questions on our project, so we'll know right away after the meeting.
So it's possible if we moved this forward today, we might have the funding to approve the following Tuesday at the city council meeting? Yes or no, or maybe? Don't know. When would the funding come if we received any from the IRRR, if they approved anything with the grant?
It takes them about a month to get us the notification, the contract to sign.
So we wouldn't have to, hypothetically, if we did receive money, we would not have to budget this for the 2026, or the 20, that's where I'm where's the money coming from? We're not going to have to budget if we get money from the IRRR.
We would start the project fund if we got money from IRRR, so it would not come in the regular general fund budget, it would start a project budget.
So it would not affect our 2026 budget?
Not necessarily, no. What would affect it is if we decided not to do the project entirely, anything we spent would be then coming out of the general fund.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you. Knowing that and hoping Thursday, the IRRR comes through, I will support this moving forward. Thank you.
It's been moved and supported. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying, Counselor John, did you have anything?
I was going to vote.
Okay. Hearing, seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. Roll call, please.
Motley,
Yes.
Paulson,
No.
Beyondich,
Aye.
Friedlieb,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
3 to 1. 4 to 1, sorry.
So if it's spending money, does it, or is it just moving it forward? What now?
Motion was to approve the letter,
Which is the cost?
correct, of the
That's money.
194. So it wouldn't pass, correct?
Brian?
So if it's, if it is to actually spend the money, then it would not pass. What the council could do is to forward it to the meeting Tuesday, which is our general practice. And simply forwarding it to Tuesday's regular council meeting wouldn't be considered an action of spending funds. So then a simple majority vote would move it forward. Understanding that in order to pass it at Tuesday meeting, you would have to meet the requirement for expenditure funds.
So I could ask for another motion to move it forward to the council meeting.
So moved.
Supported by Counselor Friedlieb, supported by Counselor Beyondich. Any further discussion? And seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
No. Roll call, Pam.
Paulson,
No.
Beyondich,
Aye.
Friedlieb,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Motley,
Yes.
4 to 1.
Motion passes. Britt, are you supposed to be leading this?
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, so I'll go on if that's okay. Thank you,
Good
Matt.
morning.
I
Okay,
appreciate
go
it. Yeah, thank you. Item number 2 is Jeremy Schwartz from Woodseth regarding discussing the request for a curb cut for the new Viking Coca-Cola facility on North 9th Avenue West and 18th Street North.
Push the button, turn green. There you go.
There you go. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for having us here. I am here on behalf of Steve and Matt with Viking Coca-Cola and Rice Companies. I can just give a really brief overview of the request. It's basically a driveway entrance request for a new site development on the north side of town along North 9th Avenue. The property is currently undeveloped, but it is a previously disturbed property. It's years ago, it was old mine dump, it appears, looking at historical aerials. It's just on the south side of Seppi's pit or operation. And along the street, the curb and gutter does have an existing curb cut for maybe a future development that was maybe thought of back in the day. It's 30 feet wide, standard commercial driveway entrance. But obviously, this is a new facility with different needs. So we're looking at traffic flow and layout and site layout and things like that, and it just seemed more appropriate to just relocate that entrance to the south. And some preliminary review from Matt, actually, SEH, just had a request that the existing curb cut just be removed and replaced with full curb and gutter. So that's kind of the gist of it. There's other utility items and things like that that I'm not sure are exactly a part of this permit, but just the driveway relocation is just the main thing. And then I'll mention one more thing. I apologize. The driveway entrance, also, we wanted to get it as wide as we can because there are full-size interstate semis that are going to be going to this facility. We had it pretty wide just to make it very conservative. And again, some preliminary comments came back from Matt and said, you know, the maximum typically is around 30 feet. And he said maybe a more practical option would be about 48 feet wide. So that's what we're proposing. Which does seem to work well with the full-size semis too, so.
Thank
I
you.
will move it.
Moved by Counselor Johnson. Is there support?
All support for discussion.
Supported by Counselor Friedlieb. For further discussion, Counselor Friedlieb.
So this is a new facility that will be built in that area just to the north of the school district building and to the south of Seppies.
Correct.
That's kind of at the knoll of the hill coming into town, correct?
Correct, yep.
And there is some concern with regard to large semis coming and going right at the peak of a hill there. I don't know if that's legit for me to say, if that's been analyzed by any that's public safety related. What's the size of this facility? Is it like a pole building then, like a distribution?
No, it's a steel structure building, it's a Butler building it'd be. Yep.
And like they're gonna be
gonna be
loading and unloading there?
Well, there'll be two drive-through lanes for the building itself, and then an office and everything for them, so that it's just kind of like a hub for Matt's team, yep.
So they'll be able to come through and
They'll
out?
be able to come through and around, and then I think that entrance to the south, it will not be used anymore, so that will not be part of that. Actually, on that other street would be,
They'll enter from 9th Avenue and exit out the east side then?
would enter out the same on that.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Counselor Motley.
Totally off topic with the curb, but exciting to see that this is expanding. That's rather, to me, large. So we appreciate you continuing. Are you the owner in the?
Wish I was.
I apologize. Well, I'm on behalf of the council. I'm thankful on Viking Coca-Cola continuing and expanding their business in Virginia. So thank you.
Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Very much.
Very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Item number 3 is Mary McReynolds for an update on the age-friendly community survey and age-friendly community action planning process.
Well, more good news, no money having to be spent on this. But I just wanted to update you all on our Virginia's age-friendly work. We sort of completed the community survey. It's still open, anybody can still participate. It's hosted by St. Louis County. So information can still be gathered if people want to go online or pick up a hard copy at the library for that. But we're at the point now where we're going to start working on an action plan, which is part of the age-friendly communities process. We expect that we will have a draft done in the spring. We're still working with the Arrowhead Area Agency on Aging for that. Staff has changed there a little bit. We have an intern that's working with us, plus Lori Kangas Olson is now our community partner on that as well. Still working with St. Louis County Health and Human Services, thanks to Cheryl Elge and Amy Brownell, and with AEOA, Essentia Health as a partner, and our really fabulous city staff, Jenny and the library staff. So there will be more to come. I think you all received by email a PDF of the survey results so far, so you can just take a look at that. We'll be in the process of trying to pull out things that we're doing really well for everybody in our community, and things that maybe need some work or look at in the future. So if anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to answer it.
Thank you, Mary. Counselor Johnson.
Thank you. Mary, this, I'm looking at our packet page 27, and are these just seniors that took this, or is it everybody who took this?
It was open to everyone.
Okay.
And there is demographic information on the participants towards the end of the survey.
Okay. And I just wanted to point out, I thought this was very interesting on page 28 of our packet. It says number 5, my current residence is affordable and appropriate for my needs. and 76.3% of the respondents said they agree or strongly agree. And I think that says something for what we are accomplishing in town, and that the folks, and granted only about 100, 200 people took this. But it demonstrates to me that the people that care, who are taking the time to take the survey, are also engaged and proud of their community. So I appreciate you bringing this to us and hope we can continue to emphasize the positives here in town. Thank you.
Yeah, that will be part of what we do as well, looking at the action plan. There's a lot to celebrate. We also will be adding other data points from like the China report at Essentia Health and other surveys that have been done to just flesh out more information too. And anyone in the process as it moves forward will be having smaller working groups on some of the different domains with the age-friendly communities. So it's open to participation. Council members are welcome to participate as well as other citizens.
So much, appreciate it.
Thank you, Mary. Item number 4 is a request to waive the certified pending and future assessments against parcel 09000600250.
Rick, could you give a little bit more of an overview? I believe this is is it page 23 in our
Page
packet?
23, correct. And when the county tries to sell these properties, they always ask us if we'd be willing to wipe out any special assessments that are on there. We've often said no to them, that we won't do it, that it was there for a reason, we're not going to take them off. It's entirely up to the council if you want to proceed with them on there or if you want to remove them.
I guess one of the questions, Councilor Johnson, I'm sorry.
What property is this, Britt? I didn't look up the parcel
Didn't look at the
code.
address either.
Or Jenny?
I need to look it up. I don't have it on hand either.
Thank you.
The other question I had while Jenny's looking is this parcel sold, or are they just putting it up for sale?
They're putting it up for sale.
So it is not sold. Okay, thank you.
302 11th Street South.
Pardon me?
302 11th Street South.
Councilor Johnson?
Thank you. I'm inclined to not waive these, especially because it looks like blight and then property code violations. Because usually this also includes going to the utilities and asking for a waiver of past due bills and fees and that kind of stuff. I think it would be more appropriate if when it gets sold, that individual comes to us specifically. What I'd hate to see happen is we waive these fees and somebody buys a lot and it sits and does nothing and they've just gotten a screaming deal for city property, as opposed to them paying for everything, coming to us with a development plan, and at that point, we refund or we figure out a way to support them in that total or partial total. So I am not in agreement of waiving these fees at this time.
Councilor, thank you, Councilor Johnson. Councilor Beyondich.
Thank you, and I would echo Councilor Johnson's feelings on this. I would hate to waive that and start setting a precedent for properties that have not been kept up, to waive fees on them. Thank you.
Yeah, I would also agree with that. So I'm looking for a motion either way.
I will move to receive and file the letter.
Councilor Johnson moves to receive and file, supported by Councilor Beyondich. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries.
Item number 5 is a request from Chief Mattson for the police K-9 assignment posting.
Chief.
services to system in the car, door wholeheartedly, I
on marijuana. However, like I said, with the new dual-purpose training, everybody, the county, everybody is going through McDonough K-9, so it would be for the local training aspect too with the county. Hibbings has a dog, and I believe, was it Babbitt still has their K-9 off the top of my head? But for the training opportunities, they're all universal under the one roof with McDonough. So like I said, the cost locally, they train out at the Evelyn Airport on the northwest side, so.
Thank you so much. First Counselor Johnson, then Counselor Motley.
I will completely support this, being on the ride-alongs specifically with Teddy, and then when he's been on duty, the safety aspect alone for our officers, having a K-9 is priceless. Being able to send a K-9 into the bushes as opposed to three officers. Yes, the surrounding communities have them. I just saw that the county had 3 retire this week and 3 more. But they can't be everywhere all the time. I know for many times, Teddy was on duty when the Evelyn K-9 was off and vice versa. Having 2 K-9s available makes things even easier and safer for all those involved. So I think this is a great opportunity. I also believe that if we put out a specific request from our community to help pay for a new dog, that will definitely take care of itself. I know there's still Friends of Public Safety. They have some money available, and that a request to them may have some money. So I will be supporting this until we have the new K-9 introduced in this room. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor Johnson. Counselor Motley.
I want to thank you for coming and also sitting for a long time before you finally got to speak. Sorry about that. Sorry. I am fully supportive of this, and so it's kind of exciting. And I also, too, remember Teddy when I used to work in the Virginia Hospital, so a lot of stuff comes through the ER, and Officer Grivna and Teddy would pay us a visit from time to time, and I know just on a downside, hospital staff was excited to see them also, so on that side, but that means nothing. But fully supportive. I also remember back when Nick was around. I remember you guys, I still have a T-shirt. I think you guys did a fundraiser, and I don't know what that paid for, maybe his armor or whatever it was, but I mean, I can see stuff like that taking off in support of the future dog that hopefully is approved going forward. So thank you for coming. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. So I'm looking for a motion to, oh, did you already make a motion?
I did not, but I will move to, I will move this forward to the city council for approval to begin the process of hiring a new canine
Support.
and its partner.
By Counselor Johnson, supported by Counselor Motley. Is there any further discussion? And all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you so much.
Number 6 is the updates to the purchasing policy.
I will move the revisions to the Tuesday meeting council for approval.
Moved by Counselor Johnson. Is there support?
Support.
Supported by Counselor Friedlieb. Any further discussion? I just have one item here. What is changed? I don't have my computer, so I don't know what's redlined. Is it just whatever's? It's the underline
Underlined is
that's
also, yep.
added?
Yep.
Okay. And could you maybe highlight some of the more significant?
Yep, the first page,
Updates.
on page 27, under bullet number 2, under section 1, we extended that wording a little bit, just said economically, and we wrote economically, that is now states, to maximize the use of tax dollars by purchasing goods and services economically, including researching all available purchase options to ensure that the city obtains the best value in terms of price, quality, and service. The lower down on the page at the very last paragraph, the senior finance department, we took that out and added city administrator rather than senior finance department staff. On page 28, we modified the name of the engineering department and then added in human resources now that we have a department that is related to human resources. The credit card purchases exceeding authorized level, it now states that we have a paragraph in there that says if a purchase is to be made using the credit card and the cost is expected to exceed the department head's authorized purchasing level, the purchase will not be made unless prior authorization is granted by the finance director and or the city administrator. Bottom of that page, page 28, it starts out, we took out the city attorney as requested. And then it starts out, in the event that the finance director or city administrator position is vacant, the HR coordinator is authorized to fulfill either role for purposes of the level of purchasing approval. Section 4, regular purchasing procedures, we added that little clause behind it that says for purchases under $10,000, just to make it a little more clear of when that is in effect. 30, number 9, which is really number 8 when you look at it the right way, but the department head is responsible for promptly submitting shipping documents and endorsed purchase orders to the finance department for processing. It was just a little modified change of purchases from 10,000 to 25,000, a little bit farther down under bidding quote procedures on page 30. Department heads or staff wishing to purchase items that are in excess of 10,000 shall seek city council approval prior to purchase using the purchasing request form. Purchase should be based on a minimum of 2 quotations, and then we added in these quotations shall be submitted to the city council along with the prescribed purchasing request form for approval. Page 31, lease or bonded purchases. If purchased to be financed through a lease or bond, approval for the purchase shall not be granted and delivery of the item shall not be accepted until the financing arrangement has been fully approved and authorized by the city council. 32, we removed the city attorneys a lot. We clarified at the very top of the page that the professional services clause that is in state statute does not require us to get bids for those necessarily, but that if we are in doubt to contact the city attorney if we need clarification. As we go down the page, you see that we remove the city attorney from the authorization for purchasing. We added at the very last paragraph of that under emergency purchasing that we would contact the city attorney to ensure compliance with applicable statutes when related to emergency purchasing.
Okay. But was there anything that you guys had discussed regarding, so like the last, on the schedule of bills, that, I don't know, was it the grader? It was, what was it? It was whatever, the check was already cut. We hadn't approved the bill run. Like, maybe, could we put, like, don't put it in the bill run? I don't know how to word that, but like, until it's approved, until the purchase is approved.
I get what you're saying. That's definitely a procedural thing we can definitely work as a staff. Usually those are line items, so we just don't put the line items in the bill run until, it'd be a manual check then after the council meeting. But that would show you approved it, then we cut the check.
Like that, I would like to see that sequence happen, so that would be separate from what's in
It
the
would just be
purchasing
processed because the
policy.
previous councils wanted it all in one bill run, but this just a little different way for us to do it. It's
so
not a problem.
maybe after that, after this approval, then we could
Definitely.
ask for a motion on that one?
Definitely.
That's
Definitely.
okay. And
That'd be
then
wonderful.
I just have a question on page 33. I don't know if anyone else has their lights on. On page 33, use of credit cards, it says the city council may authorize the use of a credit card by any city official or employee otherwise authorized to make a purchase on behalf of the city. That doesn't make sense to me.
Is it the city official that's causing confusion?
Well, city council may authorize the use of a credit card by any city official or employee that's otherwise authorized. They're already authorized.
May I?
Yes.
So I think what what that paragraph is intending is that if a purchase and if it's otherwise authorized, you can use a credit card as a method of payment as opposed to requiring a check. I think
Do you want to reword that?
So can we
it
reword that so
actually
it's a little clearer
sounds-
like that?
Because what it sounds like is you're giving permission that's already there, granted.
It's giving, because the standard, the traditional method of payment with the city is a check. And so I think what it's doing, what it's intended to do is to create an alternative means for payment.
Right. And we can definitely clarify that or make that a little more easier to understand for.
Maybe would that be okay before the council meeting? Because it's already been moved and supported to go forward. Other than that, I don't think there's
And
anything.
for the council meeting, we will have that page to the form. We were still working on
Okay.
it, but we wanted to get the policy to you first and then
Okay.
to the form.
So is there any further discussion on this item? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Go ahead.
The next item is the request to review the quote for the Motorola equipment for police and fire department radios.
I will move the resolution.
I was going to say, Chief taking on the whole thing for everybody. Thank you. Sorry, Steve, didn't mean to cut you off.
I will move the resolution.
Moved by Counselor Johnson. Is there support?
Support.
Supported by Counselor Beyondich. Is there any further discussion?
I did update the budget sheets with this dollar amount. now.
Okay.
That is in the budget.
And then this purchase is going to be a lease, is that correct?
Correct. And they are waiving the 27 payment, is that what that is?
Yes, our sales representative, they will waive our last and final lease payment for our 10-year-old radios currently right now, the ones we wear on our hips and the portable radios in our car, of $37,730.72. The pricing they quoted is also based off of a 40% off on the radios, which is an astronomical price. Generally, whatever numbers on the radio, that's the cost of the portable radios. To the municipal lease, which I believe was included in your packet, $815,457.60 over a 10-year lease at 5.04%.
And is that going to be, does that always come out of the police budget? That
That's
dollar
what's
amount?
kind of confusing. We obviously have way fewer radios at the police department than the fire does. Generally, they have twice the number. I know my last lease payment for the last 10 years was approximately $16,000 a year. And then the fire, whatever the remainder, because we obviously lump the radios together on the lease for the better deal. So out of this lease portion, generally we're around a third, and the fire is the remaining of what would happen. So yeah, they would split it under, I believe it's our capital lease.
Yeah, it's a lease option.
And to explain, unfortunately, Motorola radios at 10 years, end of life, just like a computer, depending on what brand you buy, 5 to 8. We just had a microphone clip break off the side of one of our current radios. I was able to get the housing after September, October this next year. They don't make the housing, so that includes the microphone that officers and firefighters have with the earpiece. So it's kind of, like I said, it's a plastic encased heavy-duty radio, but they're out in the elements, you know, on an officer's belt during wrestling times, bounced off the pavement. So unfortunately, we're at the 10-year end of life, and they are not cheap. I have bought a few used radios when we've had one go out, and they are still around $4,000 a radio with no warranty. So, like I said, I'm asking permission with the fire department if we could move ahead. I believe it's a fair price on the radios, and I know what each radio does cost.
And then I'm sorry, I mean, I am in support of this 100%. I just need to know the cost breakdowns, which is going to which department, and has that been budgeted for
I did
2026?
put it in 2026. I just did the 50/50 just for now, just to get it in the budget. They're both under general funds, so the dollar amount's still the same. So it's still, it's fire, police, it doesn't.
Because it would be 2/3, is it 2/3 split?
I think so.
1/3,
Yes,
2/3?
roughly, we have 27 portable radios and 11 in squad off the top of my head on the quote. And fire is normally they have about 50 portables, and I don't know exactly how many apparatuses as in vehicles, but I believe they are double what I am at.
Okay, so then could we get that split properly?
Like I said, for the budget, I just did 50/50 just to get it in there because this was.
Yep, so that we do have that in there, and that this will not be, just for clarification, this will not be part of a debt levy, debt service at all.
It's going
A
to
debt
be
levy.
listed, if you look on the truth and taxation, it's listed as local miscellaneous, or no, bonded debt levy. So it is part of it, but it's not a large increase. It's reasonable, actually.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what our 2016 lease was for 10 years. It's roughly 40,000 a year. Um, 65, yeah.
I'm in support. The only question I have is how
Does
it's
not
being
affect our debt rating.
structured.
Yeah, it doesn't affect the debt rating, it doesn't affect our debt limit, it doesn't affect anything. It just has to be reported that we're in a lease with Motorola.
But come end of 2026, when we're doing our budget process, and we've already approved a debt, that goes on as a debt levy.
Nope, it's part of their budget. It's actually, it's not. a
That's
debt
what
levy.
I'm
It's- yeah,
asking.
It's in their budget. It's in the sheets I showed you today.
But when we looked at the other sheets, it was part of the debt levy.
It does, I do have to report it to the state that we are in a lease as a debt.
So I'm perplexed.
The levy pays for it, so it comes out of their monthly budget.
But that should be reduced by that amount then, the debt levy, because it's being covered by the budget.
It is, and it's on one of the pages, if you go back to the budget meeting stuff, I can show you that after the meeting, but it is on one of the pages where it shows you, page,
In the other packet?
yeah, it's in the other packet. So page 3, actually, is a very good example. Under expenditures, the very bottom line says debt service. That's the debt that's not in the monthly budgets. While I just mentioned to you that it's really, this year, it's 1.88 million. You're only seeing 336, 364, 115, because that's not what's allocated into monthly budgets. That's just a debt.
Okay. So where is that broken into? Is that miscellaneous?
Go to page 7
Of the
same packet. You keep going that way. It's in their expenditures of public safety. On page 9, because it's black and white, you can't see it.
Under
It's black.
debt service?
Yep, under debt service. It's included in there.
Okay, so, sorry, Chief, what I'm trying to determine is when the taxpayers when we start our process, what are they gonna see on their tax statements if we raise the levy next year? Like that debt levy it's the payment, is it not, 36,000? Or, excuse me, in the lease payment is 105,000? Pam, if you could help me answer that?
Yes, so the previous lease was 37,700 per year. It is now 105, so it's gone up about 68,000. So that
For
is
the fire or the police.
the total, the total difference between what we had previously and what the new lease is going to be.
But does that go as our debt levy? Because it's in
Yes.
her budget.
It's
It's in the fire and police budget. So they're gonna pay that.
We're going to use our,
Technically, they
we're
should
going
be-
to use our general fund to pay that, is what we're telling everybody.
You can levy your debt.
But the
That's
way
why
that
it's
this
been that
council
way.
talks about the debt levy, here's our debt levy. Here's the percentage. We're at 9 point whatever debt service levy. So I need to understand, is that at the end of 2026? Because that's $105,000, that's 2 percentage points approximately. Is that gonna be looked at as 2 percentage points of debt levy? Or is Chief Mattson and Chief Frederickson's budgets covering that, and it then will not be on the debt levy side?
Correct. Their budgets were reduced to put that, to back that dollar back in, to their regular budgets. A levy.
That doesn't help me.
You're right. I mean, so, yes, so it's under the general levy. So that's, the general levy for next year has that dollar amount, the total dollar amount in there.
So then can we transfer that amount to pay for the debt service? Brian, am I making sense? Like, we have, the way that this council, every other community talks about a levy as the overall, their debt levy and their general fund levy, one figure. When we talk about it, we talk about here's your debt levy, and now here's your general fund levy. But if we're financing these, it's in their budgets to be able to pay for the lease payments. But when we approve it as a lease, it goes on as a debt. So on what we're gonna be showing the taxpayer by approving that,
This goes on as general. This is part of the general, their budget. Because it's budget, their budget.
that's
it's
what
general.
I'm asking.
Yes, yes, and that's what I'm trying to say. Yes, you're correct. It is general fund budget.
So it will not show up under the debt levy.
It'll show up as an expense for the police department
Thank you.
and the fire department, I should clarify.
And how do we get that completely clarified? Like, that is for sure how it's gonna
Yes,
show
and
up?
if you look at the sheet, the monthly budget sheet, let me find a page here, on the back of the packet for the,
Because then they need to make sure that that's in their budgets.
like I said, I will have to adjust Nicole's down to whatever, I just put in a 50/50 because I was doing this late on Wednesday. 33, page 33, actually 34.
And which one? The budget one?
Budget worksheet, yep, page 34, lease payment is the very bottom two lines, 601 and 611. Fire's got the correlating amount. I need to adjust that, like I mentioned, so then,
So then
that's all general fund, so it's just gonna change the public safety, it's the same bucket of public safety, it just changes the dollar amount between the two. Levy.
and we will have that before making our final decision on the budget itself.
100%,
On the
yes.
levy. Okay, thank you. And sorry, Chief, I needed to clarify how we are paying for that. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you for covering from where I was gone. Thank you, Counselor Motley.
Just a quick question, Chief. Was there any other quotes that you guys obtained, or was it just Motorola?
Motorola generally, there is a couple other brands that are, I don't want to use the word less popular, but for St. Louis County programming, they don't have the radio pins, and that's who programs our radio, so it's generally Motorola.
Okay, sounds good, thank you. And I'm just segue back, I hope you guys do a fundraiser if you get that dog, which it sounds like it's going to. I'd love to support it, so thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Yes, thank you, Councilor Motley. Anything else for the police department? Put me down for a donation to the canine. Thank you. Anything else for the chief? With respect to this item on the agenda?
We have a motion and a second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second on the floor, and just for my knowledge, what was the motion? Okay, thank you. Moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
The next
Thanks,
item.
Chief.
The next item is the request for the criminal legal services for the police department.
So moved.
I'll move to approve by Counselor Paulson. Is there support?
Support.
By Counselor Motley. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries.
Item number 9 is the travel request for Kyle Carlson and Nate Anderson to attend the Smart Salt training in Hermantown on December 3rd, which is tomorrow, at a total cost of $38.
So moved.
Support.
Moved by Counselor Beyondich, supported by Counselor Johnson. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries.
The library is planning for summer reading program again, and they're asking the ability to use summer volunteers, youth volunteers for the library for that program.
Support.
Moved by Counselor Beyondich and supported by Counselor
Johnson. Wasn't it?
Motley. Is there any?
Molly Johnson, Freely?
Everybody seconded it. Is there any further discussion? Pick one. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Item number 11 is a resolution to hire the figure skating program positions for the next season.
So moved.
I'll move to approve by Counselor Motley. Is there support?
Support.
By Counselor Freely. Is there any further discussion? Quickly, I read a big article on Learn to Skate in USA nationwide and how important that program is. So it was a very interesting read and I got a real good education about how this program works. Counselor Paulson.
Thank you, Mayor. I will be abstaining as my daughter is one of the coaches on the list.
Okay, moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed?
Abstain.
One abstention. Motion carries. Thank you.
Item number 12 is Mr. Jim Rossford, Public Works Director, has asked to speak to the council regarding the north side impound lot building.
Come on up, Jim. I know you've been a long wait.
You miss me yet? I know we're in the process of possibly eliminating the SEPI building, and as I've made you aware, that's 6,100 square feet of heated space that my department utilizes, and they have since the beginning of time. As you see, I took some photos of what we store in there. We're looking at $3 million worth of equipment approximately. This is stuff that cannot sit outside in an unheated building. I don't have options to put it anywhere else. I've got things jammed everywhere I can put them down at Public Works. We don't have heat, we don't have options for other buildings. We just, I'm looking for answers or a reason why we're still looking at going ahead on this. And, you know, I hear that, well, maybe we can find you something else. It doesn't fix the problem I'm dealing with now. It's, to leave equipment outside that has to be inside is, we're cutting our own throats, so.
Is that facility heated?
Yes.
Thank you. First, Counselor Johnson, and then we'll go over to Counselor Paulson. Counselor Johnson.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a few questions about the whole process. When was that building listed for sale?
Me or a Brit?
Well, Jenny's not here, so I don't believe, Counselor Johnson, it was listed for sale. I think it was a person that came forward and was looking for some space. I think he spoke with Jenny and others about what could be available.
When was that building declared surplus property for the city of Virginia?
I don't believe it ever was. I think it's part of our inventory of buildings that the city owns.
Thank you. When the person came forward, when was it advertised that that building was up for bids?
I can't answer that. Britt, anyone have any idea? I don't think it came up for bids. It didn't come up for bids, Counselor Johnson.
So my concern is that we are selling a city building with no public notice, no public input, and no public opportunity to increase the purchase price for the city. I feel that we have not followed any procedure when it comes to this building. In a search of our city code, Section 1206 vacation, Section 1205, sale of real estate property. No real property of the city shall be disposed of except by resolution. A resolution authorizing the sale of real property of the city shall not be adopted at a meeting at which it's introduced. At least 10 days shall elapse between the introduction and final adoption. And yeah, so I've got two things. One, the optics of this sale is incredibly murky at best. And two, I think we need to have a process that we follow when we're going to sell city property that has neither been declared surplus or put on the market. I continue to not support this, as at least two department heads have come forward. Jim here today going, what do we do with this equipment? We have, again, I am dumbfounded by how this is being pushed through. It was on the agenda a couple meetings ago, and there was not even conversation allowed to be had to ask the questions I just asked. I think this is not okay. There might be somebody out there who is willing to pay full price or a better price for that building if it were to be advertised and declared surplus. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor Johnson. One of the concerns, one of the questions I would have is that if this building was put up for sale, and if we're going to be discussing an offer with respect to that building, my question is that putting out for bids, whatever process we follow is a process we'll decide what process we want to follow. But for me, I think when you're selling a building, if we advertise it, one of the things we should consider as moving forward is that what's that building going to be used for? If we determine if we want to sell it in the first place, if we do, what's that building going to be used for? So if somebody wants to make an offer on a building, is it just going to be for storage? Are they going to establish a business there? I don't know if we sell a building, we can tell them what they can do with that building or not once it's sold. So just some of the questions that I might have moving forward. Councilor Paulson.
Thank you, Mayor. I think in the proposal that, I don't know if are we going into closed session? Oh, we are. Okay, so maybe I'll hold that for our closed session discussion then. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Paulson. Okay, Jim has expressed his concerns with respect to this. We do have to find a way to ensure the integrity of the equipment that's being stored there. Councilor Johnson.
Mayor, and I was going to bring that up. What are his options? Jim's been asking this since it first came up a month and a half ago. The council seems to have all the answers for everything else, so what's the answer for the storage of this sensitive equipment? I'm not ready to move into closed session. I will refuse to go into closed session until Jim has answers of what to do with the equipment that cannot be stored outside.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Johnson. Did you want to answer that, Jim? And then we'll go to Councilor Paulson.
Yeah, I just wanted to also make you aware that that's our our emergency equipment too, our vac truck, our camera system, anything that contains water, our pumps for our lift stations, those have to be readily available, 365 days a year. If we have a problem, power goes out, we can't plan on digging this stuff out of the snowbank, filling it up, worrying about it being winterized right. There's a reason why it's inside. A lot of UV stuff on that equipment. It's not made to sit out in the sunlight. We're basically sabotaging our own investments.
Okay, thank you, Jim. Hold that thought for a minute. You're done? Okay, so any other questions for Jim? He's stated his case with respect to the concerns he has regarding this equipment, and we don't have an answer as to where this equipment can be stored based upon his recommendations moving forward. And so is there any other questions, comments, or concerns that you can address to Mr. Rosvit before we move on to the next item on the agenda, which is the closed session? Thank you, Jim. You're well noted. Thank you very much. Okay. Anything else? Okay. Next item, please, Britt.
Item number 13 is consider the offer for purchase of real property owned by the city located at 915 through 929 17th Street North. And this portion of the meeting may be closed as per Minnesota Statute 13D04, Subdivision 3C 1 and 3 for real estate negotiations.
I'll move to close.
Councilor Motley moves to close the item 13, consider an offer for the purchase of real property owned by the city at 915 to 929 17th Street North pursuant to Minnesota Statute 13D.04, Subdivision 3C, parentheses 1 and 3 for real estate negotiations. Is there support? Is there support by Councilor Beyondich? Is there any further discussion? Councilor Johnson.
Will not be supporting this. I believe that proper protocol has not been followed in dispensing with or approving the sale, the pre-sale of this property, and I do not think we should be having contract negotiations on something that has not been authorized to be sold by the city.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Johnson. It has been moved and supported to move to closed session. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye, opposed?
No.
And Councilor Friedeb has left the room for whatever reason, and apparently is not available to vote, but the vote passes to move into closed session, 4-1. So let's move into closed session and take a look at this issue. We could take a quick break. Yes, thank you. Let's take a quick break, and we'll come back. By that time, Councilor Friedeb should be back. Thank you, Bill.